Welcome to Riverbend Talon on WBGZ. Brought to you by the Halpin Music Company.
And I'm Dennis. And
again. Also brought to you by Matt Van Voorhis. Let's not leave that out. See, we got to get Lydia to redo that beginning.
So let's play with that sound thing some more.
She hasn't. Lydia hasn't remade a new intro for us in time.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. It was 6 months ago when you brought that up on air that we needed to redo.
And here we are. It's just a big circle.
I want to say it was either Matt or Hope that was on the show because I was listening to those shows, and that's where I heard it.
That's where you picked it up,
right?
So.
And Matt Taul and Hope Maters, who I'm talking about.
You shouldn't let 6 months go by before you remind me to do the stuff I say I'm going to do.
Yeah, reminding you and me is a task. Let me.
Well, it's funny you bring up Hope Mater because guess who's in the studio with us tonight?
Yeah, I was trying to push you that way.
There we go. Ease me into it. So we not only have Hope Mater with us. Hello, Hope.
Hello.
How are you today?
Thanks for having me.
And we got Matt Taul, who hasn't been on the show. It's been a while.
It has been a bit.
Matt's been avoiding me. We had a Christmas party, an office Christmas party. I kind of hit on him a little bit. I'd been drinking, and this is the first time he's returned my calls in years.
Yeah, so. Man, he went one time in college, and that was it for me.
So we got them on with us because they're doing another songwriter in the round down at Jacoby's, and that's
Saturday,
what we're going to talk about. But before we dig deep into that,
well, you know what I want to start off by doing is since that big viral internet video we got, I'd like to mention for folks that don't know that we broadcast out of Alton, Illinois.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They're streaming this now, by the way, on the Alton Daily News.
We're back to streaming there.
Right. Well, we used to play music, but you talk a lot, so we haven't had time for that. So, and that was the holdup with the streaming was BMI.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, no, it's all good. Just so we got that covered.
Right. Well, they only give us an hour, and I can only fit so many words into an hour. But right. I was born with a gift of gab.
Yeah, that's true. And so now you can get the stream, and we got the YouTube video going. So
and speaking of
when we say Riverbend, that's basically Alton's right in the center. We go to Granite City and up to Grafton, and that's kind of our little area called the Riverbend. So that's what I was trying to finish.
You go. And you brought up the Steve Scorfina video from a few weeks ago. It was only 10 minutes long or whatever, promoting his Wild E show, the 50-year reunion with him and Terry Luttrell up there. But he's also going to be our guest next week, full-on hour interview with Steve Scorfina. Interesting guy. Super interesting.
And for those folks who don't know, not only do we have a ton of talented musicians in this area, but our audiences participate, and that's going on tonight, right? The shanty going down at the Morrisons Irish Pub, right?
And they're doing the sea shanties.
Right? And the open mic at Germania.
There every Thursday,
right?
Every Thursday you can go to Germania Brewhaus, and whether you're a guitar player or a piano player, and you haven't really had a gig, but you want to get out, that's a good way to start. Or if you're a songwriter who just doesn't know where to start debuting your songs, and you really want to try them out, man, hit them open mics.
Yeah,
you're gonna meet other musicians, start collaborating, all kinds of stuff goes down.
So I always mention DJ Denies, who does the Bossa Nova thing on Thursday nights. Because we do Thursday night stuff here in Alton. So there's options, right?
There you go.
I even hesitate to bring the next one up because this has been a topic with Matt Taul and you in the past.
I see it now.
And we had a little controversy about worms the last time you two talked about this. And I'm pretty sure it's not the same guy. But Jonathan Baker is playing at Baker's and Hale in Godfrey this evening. It's a fundraiser for the Southwestern High School after prom.
I don't believe Jonathan Baker is the same John Baker.
John Baker,
right. I remember.
And I block out most of the stuff we talked about.
Yeah.
So I had no clue.
You were good. You were good. But, yeah, he definitely started backpedaling after a while because he realized how much he had said about John Baker might not even doing what you said originally.
Look, somebody back in the punk rock days out of the Showbiz Pizza
what
used to eat worms for $1.
Okay.
It may or may not have been John Baker. I don't know.
Now everyone's up to speed.
You might have to have him in sometime.
Right, we're gonna have to
now that you're on video, we can.
Right.
That's hilarious.
So Imperial Pub's been shaking it up down in Grand City. Something different each week. This week, they did metal last week, remember?
Right.
This week they're doing rap.
Wow.
And look at all those rappers. It's a bunch of them.
That
starts at 8:10 and goes to 10:30 as the last one. What is there, like 9 of them there?
BFM Mitch. I'm not even sure what BFM stands for.
Yeah,
I'm
better not figure that out.
I am not hip enough, right? Yeah, I don't think we want to know.
Young Frenzy the Don.
That's a good name.
Intelligence, Echo, Break, Don Diddy, Young Kai. I guess that's Nam the rapper.
Nam the rapper.
Break, 59 Kane, and Ghazi.
Wow.
So there you go. You got the variety going on.
And this, I don't know a whole lot about rap, to be honest. I liked Public Enemy when they came out. That was kind of some new stuff. But I happened to have to give a girl a ride to a rap show, a friend's daughter. And the rapper didn't show up at the pageant until 11:30. The main guy, they were doing apparently rappers only do 15 to 20 minute sets, and that's it. I didn't know that.
As you can see, this one starts at 8:10 and ends by the last guy goes on at 10:30.
Well, and you can see the first guy starts at 8:10, the next guy starts at 8:20, next guy starts at 8:30, then 8:40. Every 10 minutes they're doing 10-minute sets.
That's the short attention spans. I think Drew touched on that the last time about shorter songs for maybe Hope and
or
Theory.
shorter set lengths.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell when you're really starting to lose a crowd.
Yeah.
It's usually whenever I say, "Thank you for coming out, my name is,"
and people's musical aptitude has shrunk greatly these days too. So
try and put out a concept album and see if anyone will listen beginning to end. Yeah.
It would never happen.
Yeah.
So
you get it in my hands, I might, but let's do a lot of concept albums.
Right. So. I think we probably have some exceptions sitting in this room.
There's always a few exceptions to the rule. Right. So,
all right, let's blaze through the rest of Thursday here and get into Friday real quick. Yep. We got DJ Matt at the Cabin at Judy Creek in Glen Carbon, Illinois. The Skylark Brothers at the Stagger Inn again in Edwardsville, one of your favorites, right?
Love those guys, yep.
And then Gage Blevins up at George's local brew in Jerseyville. They're doing stuff all the time now, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, more music's happening up in Jerseyville. A couple places starting to
right,
pop
and
up
Friday and Saturday this weekend, a lot of benefits going on.
Yeah, 'tis the season.
Mm-hmm. And we'll start with Bluff City Grille Friday night. They got the Glendale Riders performing for the Mustache March for PD.
All right.
So everything they're raising going to police officers on Friday night at Bluff City Grill. Then the Doc Holliday Band at the Alton VFW. Some guys you might know playing at a Bottle and Barrel Friday night. Agents of the Free, Framily Values, and Krickett and the Grilled Avocado at the back room of the
Never
Bottle
heard
and
of them.
Never?
Two of those bands are probably good.
Huh? Right.
That middle one, I'm just not so sure
Right.
about.
The one that rhymes with Framily Values.
Yeah. So I was wondering, is Framily Fast 2 words or one? Because it's kind of one word, but
Am I supposed to know this sort of stuff?
I figured I'd ask it. Right? Yeah.
Is Framily? Yeah. First of all, let's go to the dictionary. Framily is not a word. So, yeah, Framily Fest. I would go with one word on that for sure.
Okay. Well, your website's not
What
that
night
way.
was that?
Agents of the Free. That's Friday night. Oh, you mean Framily Values?
Oh, yeah.
Or do you mean
All the
Krickett?
above.
Yeah.
It's all of the above at the back room of the Bottle and Barrel on Saturday night. Good luck.
There you go. Down in Wood River at the Franchise, Brad and Jerry. Mila Duffey at Morrisons on Friday night. Jazz tonight with Beth White at Chez, Marilyn's in Alton. Leadfoot at the Pump House in Wood River. Dustin Coleman, of course, every Friday night at High Flyers Grill. This one guy, Matt Taul, does an every Friday night thing, too, up in Edwardsville. Right?
Bigelow's Bistro, my regular...
Yeah, you'll be there this Friday, right?
Yep.
I recommend
6
the
to 9.
pulled pork. I'm just saying, with some tractor treads on the side.
Gotta have some treads.
Gotta have some treads on the side.
Service is always friendly.
Down in Eddie's, at Eddie's and Granite, Scott and Mechelle, DJ Matt at the Imperial Pub, Vanilla Fudge at the Wild E Theater this weekend.
Wow, there you go. I love me some vanilla fudge.
Right, yeah.
They do my favorite version. Oh no, I'm mixing it up. I was thinking of frigid pink.
You know what I always think
frigid
of?
pink,
I always
whatever.
think of Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
Right, because of the Live at Monterey story he does about the vanilla fudge, and well, we better not get into that
I was
one.
gonna say we better just hold up on that story. You can Google it if you want to know.
Hooky down at Deutz, so they do Friday and Saturday, but they're down there Friday for sure.
Yeah.
You do the next one.
All right. Larry Guanletny.
I'd say
Gwaltney.
I'd say
Gwaltney.
Gwaltney. Yeah.
Gwaltney. There it is. I never heard that one. Gwaltney. Larry Gwaltney at the Lake House at Buffalo Park in Maryville.
All right, I'll take the last one.
Gwaltney. Yeah, good one. Oh.
Marty Alton Burger. 7
There you
p.m.
go.
at the Huddle House in Casey.
I think we got one we might have missed, which is the Blacktop Boulevard at the back bar
think you got it.
in Edwardsville. There
Yeah,
we go.
yeah.
That takes care of your Thursday and Friday night around the river bend now.
And like I said, just real quickly this weekend, benefit for Captain Jake Ringering, the firefighter at Bottoms Up. Hayes Bond and Earth Dad going to play at Bottle and Barrel Saturday. Pat Liston playing this weekend. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Billy Hurst playing Saturday. The Glendale Riders playing Saturday.
A lot going on.
And a benefit for a stroke victim by the name of Dwayne Hunter up in Jerseyville. Your buddies Thurston Howe playing that. We'll talk all
Love
about
that
that in
name.
a little bit.
And
But
Songwriters in the Round coming
that's-
up.
Yeah, that's where we're heading now. So we're going to talk about that from here on out. But we wanted to touch base on those, and then we'll get back to them later.
We gotta take a quick break before we hit this.
Nah,
no,
we can
let's
do
roll
that.
right into it.
You wanna,
okay.
We'll take a quick break, and
All right,
then
let's do it.
yeah. So we're going to be talking about the event at Jacoby's coming up this weekend. Really cool thing. You want to go through the list of performers real quick?
We got Doug Rafferty from Judge Nothing, Matt Taul from a million different bands, including the Five and Dimers and Stubblefield Band, everybody remembers so well.
Heck, by the end of the night, him and Hope might have a band put together.
They were over here whispering a
There'll be
second
three-piece
ago.
going on.
I heard 4. I heard there's going to be another guy, Pete Klein's gonna-
Yeah,
I
I do
don't
a
know.
shit of operation.
We also Hope Mater of Hope and Therapy will be performing it. And Songwriters in the Round, they don't just play their songs, they tell the stories of the songs, right?
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That,
right.
That's what I
Not
find.
just recant. Some things I'm going to leave the imagination, but you'll have to. We won't name names. I'll give it that much.
So are they
That
gonna,
out.
all right. So I think he's going to go a little deeper on the stories at the live show than he's going to go here on the air today.
Yeah, we're going to price them out of
Okay,
it.
we'll figure it out. All right, we'll be back to talk about that after this here on 94.3 FM.
And now more Riverbend talent.
With Dennis Laird and Pig Pen.
Back with more Riverbend talent. I'm Dennis, and you're Pigpen still.
As far as I know.
Our
Nobody's
guests are
told me
still
different.
here. You didn't scare them off during the break. That's good.
No, Hope got up and started to walk out, and our.
I thought we were done.
I was like, please sit back down. I'm sorry. So we got the Songwriters in the Round coming up this Saturday,
Yeah.
Saturday, March 23rd.
Yeah, you're
So,
on the right date.
Yeah. I'm like, this Saturday, next Saturday. I don't even know what the day is. Is it Saturday? No, it's Thursday.
It's coming up.
It's coming up, though, this Saturday. And so this is going to be your second Songwriters in the
Yeah,
Round,
lucky
right?
enough to be invited back
Yeah,
twice. I
so
got to be on the maiden voyage, and now we're doing it again. So
you obviously didn't offend anyone too much.
no, man, it was all above board, or it was the crowd that wasn't easily offended.
Right. I'm hoping for the latter.
Right, they're a lot more fun.
So how the when it first got put together, Drew Mater, Hope's a significant other, is the one who started the Songwriters in the Round. He was putting the things on at Jacoby's at the time, and that was what, about 2 years ago?
I think it was 2014, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a few
So it's
years.
been
It
a
was
few
right
years.
at, I remember December 20th, I think was
Yes.
the date, because it was right before Christmas. I played there instead of, my son's birthday was that day. He's a middle child. It's fine.
It don't even count, really. So, I thought you were talking about Max, man. I was about to get all upset.
No, settle down.
I remember when you had your, like, it was the third or fourth child, I was like, man, so a lot more mouths to feed, things are racking up for you. You're like, just more names to remember, that's all.
Yeah. I just got their birthdays right last year. I remember the last birthday.
for the first time ever.
I did. She's 14 now. I seriously just got it right last year.
Good for you, Dad.
She would quiz me. I put that with my other Father of the Year awards I have on the mantle.
Finally going to get out that #1 dad cup and put it to use.
Oh, yeah.
I deserve this one.
Yep. It was on her birthday.
Nice. So when Drew made her first put this together and contacted you, did you have to stop and think for a minute about, do I want to tell the stories of my songs, or did you jump right
absolutely
on board?
not. No. It was my songs are stories, you know. So that's the joy of writing songs, and for somebody to give you a place. Okay, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna do nothing. We want you to play your own songs. Unlike when you go to a bar, you got to kind of mix it up a little bit. It's rare around this side of the river for sure that people ask you to play your original music. You get sometimes the opposite reaction. So no, there's no will there ever be a second guess on something like that.
Nice. And in addition to playing the story, you get to talk about the whatever it inspired you, whatever sent you there, you know. Or you could even give the real name of who these people are you're singing about. Who is that guy that gets hauled off to the jail?
Right.
Because I know you made the name up.
Right, yeah, I did. Most of them to protect the innocent or the guilty.
I mean,
mostly to protect the guilty.
But down at Jacoby's, you might actually go, I'm actually singing about Joe Cox that night. Going, no, I don't know who you're singing.
We'll see if he's there or not.
Right. Depends on who shows up, how many names you give away.
I think I've told enough Joe Cox stories over the air here that nothing's going to be a shock.
I think Joe's told a few of his own stories around here.
So. He lives them. He knows where they are.
And now this second trip around, Hope, you're on. So were you the same way, immediately on board as soon as you're...
Oh no, absolutely not.
Yeah, they'll scratch the noggin a little bit.
I mean, I actually do get the opportunity to play my songs a lot, but I have a band on stage with me. So when Josh reached out, I said, oh, yeah, I don't know, I'll have to sleep on it. I'm a little anxious about that, and I did. I gave it some thought, and, you know, Drew, of course, was encouraging me to do it, and I thought, yeah, well, heck, it might be the only time I ever get to do it. I guess I will.
Yeah, it's interesting because this takes you all the way back to the early days at Chez, Maryland, when you're just getting your feet wet. And you talked in a past podcast about how, you know, your band members helped you get over a lot of that stage fright.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
The early days.
Like I never have had the chance to play solo. You know, right off the bat, when I started writing songs, I was writing them for myself. You know, and I kept them in the house. And Drew and Dan heard some, and they started pushing me to get out, and they said, we'll be your backing band. Let's do it at the open mic down at Chez, Maryland. So we did, and I wouldn't have done it without them, and it's been 10 years. You know, I've never played alone.
Wow. Are you afraid you're going to feel a little naked up there?
I am going to feel very naked.
Yeah.
And then on top of all that, your life's just crazy right now.
It is.
Right,
yeah.
because you got what?
I've got 2 young kids, a baby
Willow's
at home.
about to turn 1.
She is.
Right. And
Already.
Ren's about to go to school.
She's going to preschool. Yeah.
So, yeah. There you go.
We've got all the germs. We've got all the preschool.
That's the great thing about sending them out into the world is they bring all that stuff home for you.
Yeah,
I was going to bring up you haven't been feeling well either, right?
I haven't.
Right.
You know? I don't think you ever feel well when you have 2 kids
Right.
running around.
You just get by.
Right.
That's all you do.
We made it through another day.
Another day, I didn't put either one of them in the bathtub. Wow. Yeah, so that's so you had to think about it a little bit, and I kind of feel you because I know like when I first started, it was playing with bands. I didn't go out my first time donning a stage wasn't as a solo person.
Right.
It was with a band. And it was years before I stepped on stage with just me and a guitar. And it was very daunting, like, oh, they're going to hear everything I do. There's nobody here to cover up all my mistakes, man. This is not going to
You're not making me feel any better.
So
Right.
I'm talking about me. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
You're going to be just fine. No, so was it was it the idea of the playing alone more than the like talking about the songs that
Yeah,
that
I mean, I'm not too nervous to talk about them, I guess. Although, in trying to prepare for it, I was like, I don't know how to put into words the story behind this song. That's why I write songs.
The song is the story.
Yeah, and there it just sums it up, you know.
Yeah.
So you'll play a song and go, if you don't get it, just go home. You
Yeah.
weren't listening when I sang the song if you need me to tell you what this is about.
See, he's looking for the tabloid line behind
Yeah.
it. This is some dirt on so-and-so.
And I do
what
have a lot of that.
This is TMZ, baby.
Unfortunately for Drew, you know, there were a lot of songs written about him back in the early days.
Well, you know, relationships a big topic in
Absolutely.
songwriting, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I was going to stir it to emotions. You know, sometimes a song's just a particular emotion you're trying to describe. So how would you even tell a story about an emotion? You know what I mean?
Very good point.
You know? I mean, because it's not necessarily the emotion was caused by a story. It was just something you're like, man, how do you get through these moments?
Yeah, and it, you know, you have some of those, but they usually turn into a story. You know, a song I wrote really recently is not. It's about a situation a friend's going through. Mm-hmm. You know, I'll sing it from the first person about their situation.
Right.
It's not my situation. It's
Right.
me as an observer going, man, this must be tough.
Yeah.
And I'm going to debut it that night. I've never played it in front of people. So
Nice.
there'll be a brand new one out the gate that night. So
And are you going to give the name now? I'm just teasing.
I don't know if it has a name yet.
No, I mean the name of the
of
person you wrote it about.
Oh,
I'm back to the
no.
TMZ, man. I'm just joking with you.
Nah, well, no, I might.
You know, I every week on over across the river, I play a Todd Snyder song off his where he tells the stories. There's a 5 CD set of him telling his stories, but he's got one that I like where he goes, he starts out, he goes, I don't want to say who I wrote this about. I just hope the people who I wrote about know I like them. I thought there's quite a few songs. If I was going to ever say anything about them, it's kind of all I'd have to say is I hope if you know I wrote this about you, you know I like you. No
And
matter how it sounds.
a lot of songs are written about a little snapshot in time, though. It's not
Yeah.
about your life in
Life,
time
yeah.
with somebody.
Right.
You're going to write about this incident, which you liked or didn't like,
Yeah.
or just struck you in a way. It doesn't mean you feel differently about it.
Right.
The object of the thought, you know.
That's good.
I'd be more alone than I am now. Whatever the case.
I wouldn't have friend one if they all knew these songs were about them. No. Or,
Yeah.
you know that's. But a lot of songs, like you say, they're about this very short moment, a 2-second thing, or that a line that somebody says that you spawn off of, and then there's other songs that are about a lifetime shrunk down into just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and in my brain, most of them, when I'm singing them, they'll go over a span of time sometimes, and those songs are like a whole novel. It's like a book. In my brain, there's a whole movie going on about what happened in this song. It's this whole visual thing I have, and wherever you were at that minute, you know, they tend to take you back there if you're at the right space, if you're in like this is a listening room, you know, and it's quiet, you're not distracted. People are there to share that moment with you, which is cool.
And we've talked about that a few times on the show, how there's a big difference between playing in a place where there's not a bar and a party going on. Like even up at Stagger Inn, the way the bar is in a different room than the listening room. You tend to get the people in the room's attention. They actually are in the room to listen to what's going on, where a lot of times if you're just playing in a bar, they're just there to party. You're just kind of background music or maybe dance music. Give us a rhythm to shake the butt to, which is cool. I don't mind doing. But, you know, it's being at Jacoby's, you're in a situation where it's a listening room. People are there. not hang out and talk in the back while you're playing. They're listening to you. Yeah. And as a songwriter, that's got to be the bee's knees. I mean, those have got to be the best. You know.
We will see.
We will see.
Yeah.
It depends on if they throw tomatoes.
So,
will there be chicken wire like the Blues Brothers had?
Yeah, the good old boys.
So Matt went through this the last time he did it, so this is kind of a new experience for you. Is this like the first time you really sat down and looked at some of these songs and thought, how am I going to tell a story about this? And kind of relearn some of the stuff you were doing again, right?
Oh, yeah. Picking the songs has been challenging. So I started writing more seriously in about 1995. And I had collected cassette tapes and micro cassette tapes and just notebooks full of songs. And I dug that box out. And just at first glance, there were probably 20 tapes in there. And I put a tape in, and there was probably 20 songs on it. I said, Drew, 20 times 20. I mean, is that how many songs I have in this box that I don't even know? I don't even play in the band. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, yeah, it was just sparking all sorts of memories, from my early teens. Right. Just people I haven't thought about and situations I haven't thought about. So, it was also interesting to see where I came from. Mm-hmm. And, there was like a song in a major key, like 20 years ago. I had to write in major keys. Right. So I don't know. It's been neat. But picking ones that have a good story that people might, be receptive to or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. We'll just see how it goes.
Now, you talked about last time you were with us, writing some songs when you were like 12, 13, 14 years old. Mm-hmm. So, and then some of those songs, Drew and Dan encouraged, guys to redo, and there was probably some left over. So I'm wondering, are we going to dig into some of that leftover stuff that you haven't played since back then?
Well, as far as our first album, that was all songs that I had written prior to meeting Drew and Dan. And that's probably got 13 songs on it. Mm-hmm. And we don't play very many of those anymore, maybe 2 or 3. But we touched on them here recently at our 10-year anniversary show.
Right.
I have like a tentative list of probably 2 or 3 from that album.
Yeah.
I've got 1 or 2 that never made it on the first album. A couple from Webb's. And Webb's is more difficult for me to take my part and strip it down because I was writing those songs with bass and drums in mind, so that's been interesting. But there's so many songs that never made it to an album, right. and which ones work. There's a few I'm excited about, a few that I thought were interesting when I wrote them, where I was, how I wrote it, where my mind was at. Hopefully the audience will feel the same, and if they don't, whatever.
If they don't, there's nothing I can do. But that's cool. Like you were saying, you're thinking about taking some of those early ones that didn't make an album, some of those early songs that didn't make it on that first album, and busting them, dusting them off, and pulling them back out. I mean,
those are the more difficult ones to learn because I am like, what is this song? I got to remember what key it's in and what I was playing. It's not like I was recording what I was playing, So those are the harder ones for sure. I might be able to pull one out, but also it's just like an opportunity to maybe introduce those to the guys and say, can we do anything with these? Should we do anything with these, or should I just put them back in the box? And that's what they were hoping whenever they met me. They're like, you've got a box full of songs. We've got albums we could just throw out one a year every year for our entirety as a band. Yeah. And of course, that didn't happen.
Little
I was writing new stuff.
Right. And a little harder to just throw out a recording sometimes. And it seems like it should be easy. Play the song, hit record, we're done. It takes a little longer than that to actually do the process.
Well, it never, for me, it just never sounds, you can never get it to sound the way it sounds here, in your head.
Yeah. It's interesting, the similarities between you two. I'm sure Matt's sitting there going, I kind of remember going through that the last time they had this going on. One thing he did definitely go through was Matt didn't want to face the crowd when he first started himself. Isn't that right?
Oh, yeah, no, I was shy as heck.
Is that an option?
Yeah. No, I have played shows turned the other way. I right when we at Harrison's Tavern back in the old days, the first time ever singing in the band.
Really?
Yes.
First double field appearance, we saw the back of Matt's head.
Terrified. No, I wanted to puke every time I went on stage.
Yeah, that was me.
Now I want to puke if you want to make me leave. I love
But
it.
now I remember though, even like when you first really started turning around and facing the crowd, you weren't playing guitar, you were just singing. You would just kind of hold a beer in your hand and statuesque.
Beer
in
one hand on the mic and one on the
hand
beer.
on the mic and just sing your songs.
Yeah.
You weren't very free and loose like you are now.
No, it's not as easy as one would think. Just to it does that part of it. Showmanship doesn't come natural to me.
Tom Petty disagrees.
Singing comes natural.
Yeah.
Writing a song comes natural. Showmanship does not come natural. It's not. I don't talk to crowds much when we're playing. I've heard people say, "Oh, you need to get the crowd more engaged," and this and that. I'm like, they're here to hear me play music, not to hear me talk. Right. You know, once I start talking, things go south. I say things that make people mad. They're like, "This is who I'm listening to." We're out of here. Right. You know, it's better if I just play the songs. Really,
Let them formulate their opinions of me about my music.
Right. Then I can get by.
Right.
So had you done this before? The whole storytelling thing. Like they're doing at Jacoby's the last time?
I run down Kansas City and Nashville and stuff and do these kind of little songwriter nights and stuff once in a while. And they encourage you to do that type of thing too. You know, and it's and you go out and you watch people play. I go and watch a lot of songwriters, and they always have little stories to tell and funny. The crowd has fun with it. And so you try, but I'm always just all this great stuff goes on in my head, but when it comes time to just spewed out my mouth, it doesn't work as well.
I got 2 brain cells left, and they're just fighting each other.
It is a battle, man.
So it's interesting.
The third one is just kind of limping along, just trying to. They're like, "What's he doing, man?" The other two are looking.
Kill the weak one! Kill the weak one!
The two good ones get confused on what's the weak one doing here. I thought he was dead. Now he's coming back. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting though because both songwriters come from stage fright in the beginning, and to write a song and then tell a story about you can't expose yourself any more than what they're going to go through now.
The songs are so personal, though.
Yeah.
I mean, most of them. Sometimes it's just a story. There's a few. Here's a story about this or that, but for the most part, the ones you really want to play are just so personal, and it's you're very, very vulnerable in saying some of the things that I say, and I'm sure that Hope says, in front of a crowd or in front of anybody, because people are judgmental. People read things into stuff that's not there. And I want somebody to take mine and do what you want with it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what I've done with it. Just
what does it mean
if
to
you
you?
can connect with it, you interpret it, you take it somewhere you want it to go, apply it to your situation. Yeah. And I hope that people can do that.
Yeah.
And when I've had people cry during songs before. And I'm just like, man, they're like, man, I'm sorry I started crying during that. And there's not a greater compliment you can pay a songwriter than to tear up during your song. I mean, it truly is.
To be moved to any emotion,
Yes.
but to be moved to, and the songs you're talking about that are more personal, those are the songs that like you said, there's some songs just a story. Well, those are the songs you decide you're going to sit down, you got a story, you're going to write a song. Mm-hmm. The songs that you really like are usually the ones you have to write. It's not that you want to sit down, I'm going to sit and write a song. You just got something boiling in your head so much you can't help but write.
And they come out in minutes.
And you don't have to think about the story. It's there, But they are the more personal songs, and like you said, you're completely exposed out there, and now naked without a band. Oh, this is scary. No, I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing you.
Where's the phone?
right
You'll
now.
be amongst friends on stage.
Thank you.
We play for each other. Last time it was like that. We were. Everybody, and Doug's a sweetheart of a guy, and everybody there, I know they did last time, and I'm sure this time, everybody has just a nice mutual respect for one another. And it's everybody, I mean, I'm paying attention to what you're doing, and I love to hear it. And I think everybody kind of feels that way when you're on stage with other songwriters. It's something special. It's not a band following along.
Right.
This is somebody doing their thing. This is their personal thing here, and it's special to share that stage with other people who are doing that.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often.
It's awesome to see it happening again because, like you say, it's been about 4 years now since the last one. And, oh, no, I'm getting a text from Josh Grassley. Please leave Hope alone before she backs out.
Yeah, Josh looking out for you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Leave her alone. Yeah, so that's awesome though. I'm happy to see this happening again. Super cool to see you coming back to and Doug coming back to the table, which we tried to get Doug in, but he doesn't live around here. I guess he lives up north a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's in Illinois North.
Yeah, he's in northern Illinois. Take off, eh?
And for those who aren't quite remembering the name Doug Rafferty, let's bring up Judge Nothing. Maybe they remember that name, right?
Judge nothing,
Right.
especially me.
Right.
That's the attitude on stage.
That
We're
is
just
the-
here. We're not judging
right,
anything. We're
judge-
just playing songs.
And anybody who was paying attention to the local music scene during the 90s there, you know what's going on with Judge Nothing. I mean, those guys were happening. The great loft parties they would have. You know, and you were talking about how hard it is to get local gigs. Back then it was even hard to get original gigs. Back then it was even harder. You know, I mean, at least you've got the Bottle and Barrel, and we had 300. You know, you got a few clubs around town that are encouraging some original music. Back then there was nothing, man.
Yeah, I mean,
You
there
know?
was a few bands that would play. Us and the Bishops and Judge Nothing.
Yeah, I
We're
was
about
gonna-
the only people who would play original
Well,
music
yeah,
out
yeah.
and get away with it. I don't mean play it, but we actually could get away with it, which is a different story.
Yeah, there were other bands doing it, but you guys were, and you know, like Scott Robertson's band, The Undecided. Now they played originals, but they played them sandwiched between a set of covers. You know, each set sneak one original in. Well, you guys were going out doing original shows, and you know, like you say, the Bishops were right on the right in that same wheelhouse, man. Eric Hornet
Hope and
don't
therapy
like me either.
from the beginning.
He's me.
You know, they talked about last time they were on with us, you know, having to rent halls and throw in shows.
Yeah, see, I got into the local music scene in the 90s and early to mid 90s, and at that time there was a lot of places to play. We went to shows all over the place in town. We would go to Springfield, of course, St. Louis, always. But there were a lot of, like, you know, like basement shows and just play, not at bars.
Right.
People were playing shows at McPike Mansion.
Yeah.
You know, places like that. So I don't know. It was
St.
It was
Louis
everywhere.
St. Louis had a lot of cool.
Yeah, they did.
They threw a lot of showcase shows over there too.
Yeah.
We played
Right.
tons. There's Kennedy's on
I was
the
going to say the landing
you know,
was
some of
the
these
landing
places.
always had those.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about, you know, going across the river and playing, but it seemed like during our time as, you know, doing original music in this area, it was like rent a hall and throw a show,
Yep.
or find a farm,
Right.
or
a barn, yeah.
or an event that needs bands for free.
Yeah.
I mean, we always get to play originals there.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's the other thing, getting away with playing originals, like Matt's talking about.
Well, that is something
Yeah.
different. We want to hear something familiar.
I mean, because
I have people ask me, "Hey, this sounds great. What else do you do?"
Right.
Screw you, man.
right.
You leave. Where you park?
I got a car I got to go key, man. You know what, though? We've heard this, and I've heard this from bands at even much higher levels. Pat Liston from Mama's Pride told me years ago that when they were, like, right before they did the Allman Brothers and all that, I mean, obviously when you're open for the Allman Brothers, yeah, you're an original band, and when you're out on tour with a major act, but before that, when they were regional, playing shows that should have been they got albums out, man, that should be doing that. He said they'd have to sneak their originals in the middle of sets, and then the bar owner, you're talking the 70s, the bar owner would come up and go, "Hey, what was the fourth song that set?" And they'd always go, "Well, that was Three Dog Night."
Okay.
Right, and then all right, and then, but they'd have to lie about their originals, and they couldn't say this is our original, or the bar owner or manager knows it, you know. And you're talking about a band with an album out that's doing a regional tour.
airplay, you know, and that helped Matt. He, you know, they got some airplay on Chez, so you know that bumps an artist that's doing original material. You know, you got something to say. My song was on the
It
radio,
gives you
especially
some,
during
it
that
gives you
time.
some undeserved credibility, you know, that should be. People think they think you're something you're not, you know, and like they're getting played on Chez. Yeah, I'm still going to work every day.
But opens the doors. You know, you guys get to play some really cool shows because because of that,
Still
so.
have a ton of fun.
And Mama's Pride, same way, But different era now, the radio play is not going to get you the same thing today that it did back then. Mm-mm. So, different times. But, a lot songwriters go through. And one more thing I'd like to touch on with both you guys is, we talked a little bit about this, but the best time to write is when it just comes to and you can sit down and write. You ever have to force yourself to be creative? And if you do, how do you go about that? I want to get something done today. That happens as well, right?
For me, I have been most prolific during times of trials and tribulations or witnessing other people go through them. And for a long, long time, I was having to write from this dark place, which can do a number to your psyche, And then every time you would perform that song, it would take you right back there. So I don't know. For me, creativity comes from this dark place, this depressed state, or just a hard time, essentially. And when I've hit a block and I know I need to produce something, the best solution for me is dark, a thunderstorm, being alone. I can just kind of get in the zone.
Yeah.
or going out alone and watching people.
Yeah.
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 Basically, though, quiet time, not having somebody else, a TV, a radio, or somebody else talking to you, because that's when the mind starts turning.
Yeah.
How about you, Matt?
Where dark place for hope.
I go to a lot of the places she goes to. I'm surprised I haven't seen you there. But yeah, a little depression goes a long way towards cranking out some great songs.
Absolutely.
It really does. I mean, that's been my best tool. But then you hit a point and you're like, all right, who's writing who here?
Yeah.
You get in this. You get into it when you're there. It sounds like you know what I'm talking about, but you are the songs writing me or am I writing the songs kind of a thing. And it when you go to a nice dark place, it gets a little weird. Mm-hmm. I mean, in the 90s, it was wake up in the morning, drink some coffee, do a couple bong hits, and then you start writing songs.
Right. And they were usually happier songs because they were morning songs.
Right.
Wake and bake songs.
And the last song I wrote, I'm usually I have the idea for a lyrical spark me first. And I'll have a melody in my head that I'll put it to, and then I'll go to my guitar, and it'll wind up being the same 4 chords that I played every other song to. So I go back to the drawing board. But this latest one, I had the music first.
Yeah.
And I sat on that song for over a month. I come home, I'd play it on my lunch hour.
That's nothing.
And I would, but I couldn't, I really liked the melody. I couldn't find words that I thought were good enough to go with it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to squander. This is really neat to me. I'm not going to squander it with
forcing
something that's meaningless. Yes, and I cannot force myself to write.
Right.
It just doesn't. I have to do that. I just have to sit on stuff and just play it over and over and let either my situation or somebody else have something going on in their life that I can hop on board with.
I sit on songs for years.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, decades. Yeah. I've done it.
Yeah.
That's good that you can keep them though, because I'm not. I have a really short attention span.
Well, most of the time, if it's not working out, and if we're trying to jam something out, and I'm like, it's not making sense. It's not coming together as easily as I would hope it to. Let's just put it to the side.
Yeah. And
it might be years later where we're like, what was that one thing that we did? And actually, one of our more recent songs that we haven't recorded yet was that way. We had tried to work that thing out probably from the beginning of our band, and we had visited it 4 or 5 times, and it never made sense until a year ago.
Yeah.
You leave it stewing long enough, and it'll start simmering.
And there's enough stuff in the world going on.
Yeah.
But you can find something to write about, but you just got to have your head in the right place. And
yeah.
you have to have your own vision of what's going on. It can't be somebody else's take on a situation. Somehow your brain eventually formulates this. The
story.
Right. You formulate the story, how it works out, your vision of it.
Right.
And, some things click, some things don't, but...
Yeah. Like you say, there's some songs that you just sit down and you write them. You don't even have to think about them. And there's other songs you might have to stew on and think about. Mm-hmm. You got some lines that work and some lines that don't. But like you say, time heals all that stuff up. Just let it sit long enough.
Yeah.
There's always new information filtering in, and it's just getting you in that place that where you feel like sitting down. I don't like to have to. I like formulating ideas.
Right.
That's the fun part.
Yeah.
Sitting down and hammering them out, not quite as fun.
No,
sometimes.
that's not fun. For me, it's just like I need to write, and this is this environment in which I will perform best.
The spawning of the ideas and the first part of it that's the fun part. That's when I got an idea.
I got 1,000 one-verse songs.
Right.
Yeah.
Idea for a story. Baby picks booger and eats it. Oh wait, that's probably been done.
I
probably been done.
I haven't thought of that one yet, but I'm going to get
probably been done.
I'll get to work on it.
I'm going nowhere with that one. So let's talk to Hope real quick about the Rock the Hops is coming up, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's coming
it's gonna be a minute, but you guys are already soliciting vendors and soliciting sponsors and all that, or?
Yeah, sponsors, definitely. We've been hitting up our venues from last year to see who's in, and breweries. I hit the breweries up pretty early on in the year, so that's where I'm at right now.
So if somebody does want to jump on board as a sponsor or a vendor or a brewery, how do they contact you to get on board with that?
They can find me everywhere. They can find me on
Everywhere.
Facebook. You can have my phone number, whatever you need.
And Elvis.
I'm in your heart. You'll find me in your heart. Just look there.
Reach out.
The Mojo Nixon song, Elvis is everywhere.
So
I like Debbie Gibson's "Pregnant with My Two-Headed Love Child" better. That's my favorite Mojo Nixon song. Anyway.
So the email's still rockthehops@gmail.com.
That's
though.
it.
That one works for the vendors and sponsors, which are we need those first. So,
Right.
Yeah. The bands though, it was rockthehopsmusic@gmail.com.
That's correct. And we haven't put up the submission form for bands, but that doesn't stop bands from reaching out, and that's
Right.
totally fine.
Right.
Reach out. Let us know you're
Right.
interested.
Yeah, and that's definitely huge. Let's see who's calling because they're hanging. So
All
I
right,
think they
all
want
right.
to be
Let's-
on.
let's see.
Remember this happened last time.
It's Josh Grassley. He's angry.
Let's see who's that. Hey, you're on the air here on the Big Z. Who are we
Well, I
talking?
just wanted to let you know that I've been listening, and I'm a big fan of all three of these artists.
Awesome.
And
Excellent. Thank
I'm
you.
glad that they're doing a show naked.
Oh,
What was it? I missed it.
yeah. You
She
guys
said
can't
she's
hear.
glad that you're going to be doing a show naked.
Oh.
Well, because they're doing a solo act, and they're used to their bands backing them up. And I think it's a real good thing that these three are going to do that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, Hope's just put the headphones on it and got to hear that last part you said. So, yeah, she's excited that.
Well, I'm her biggest fan because I'm her mother.
Oh, okay. Now we're
I was
getting
like,
down.
do I know that voice?
And let me tell you, parents don't really know their kids, no matter how old they get, even young. But I have learned so much about her and her talent by listening to her. And I'm a musician myself, but not the same kind that she is. And her stuff is difficult. I mean, to play and all the different movements, and I'm just really proud of her.
Thanks, Mom.
All right. We're all proud of her.
Yeah.
But doing a show, quote naked, without people behind them.
She just wanted to call in and say naked.
That's cool also.
Are you a Pigpen fan? I'm just wondering.
She just likes quoting my naked statement.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's good stuff.
Love you, Mom. Get to bed.
Thanks for calling. Thanks so much.
All right, yeah. That was awesome.
As soon as she said I can't wait to see him naked, I'm like, wait a minute, is this a naked show? I forgot what we were talking about there for a minute.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that made me laugh.
You ever been at a party and your mom starts to tell the story, right? And you're like, uh-oh. Well,
Is that the look she
in
had?
Hope's case, the whole world's listening.
Not just a few people at a store at a party. That's good stuff.
So, yeah, it was
All
good
right,
stuff,
so Anyway, to get a hold of Hope for Rock the Hops, you gave that information. What was it again?
Rockthehops at gmail.com. That's for the vendors, for the sponsors, and that kind of thing. Yeah. And then it's Rock the Hops Music at gmail.com for the bands.
Which is the official submission list, not up yet, but
as we pointed out last time, it's plain and simple. You show up Saturday at the show, you meet Hope and Drew, and now you're in for Rock the Hops. You know exactly what to do.
There you go.
You just come out and say, you did a good job.
Exactly.
It never hurts to get a little FaceTime with the promoter. Yeah. That way, when your submission comes through, they go, "Oh, Joe Schmo. I remember Joe Schmo.
He was really nice.
He liked my stuff.
He was nice.
He liked me naked." Your mom's hearing that. Just so you know, your mom's hearing all this naked talk.
She brought it up.
So, Matt, how about you? How do people go about getting a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you for any of your multiple musical acts that you're doing?
MattTaulmusic.com.
MattTaulmusic.com is always up and running.
Always.
Facebook is super easy. Matt Taul Music on Facebook, or regular old Matt Taul. You can friend me if you want. I friend everybody. So
even those girls sending the naughty pictures.
Especially them.
They're my favorite.
The ones that's all written in Arabic.
Right. I love that.
I'm getting those too.
You get those?
I think the whole world's getting those.
I think those are the only friends on Facebook we had in common. Our mutual friends.
Right. Oh, man.
Yeah, but what a great event going on this Saturday at Jacoby's Art Center right on Broadway here in downtown Alton. Songwriters in the round, Doug Rafferty from Judge Nothing. And his website's judgenothing.com. Matt Taul, Stubblefield Band, Five and Dimers, whoever he can get to show up each weekend. Except he doesn't let Klein. You don't jam with him much, so I just want to point that out.
One time, and he realized I don't know how to play. It took him 2 minutes, not even 30 seconds to size me up. He's like, okay, G, C, and D. What else you got? I'm like, A.
I can play it forwards and backwards, though.
Right.
But check him out at MattTaulmusic.com. All his original music there. And, of course, Hope Mater with Hope in Therapy, and Hope in Therapy at Bandcamp.com. You can find all their stuff there. And, this all starts at 7:30. The doors open at 6:30. Only $10.
All ages welcome.
For these people to expose themselves and be naked.
Wow.
As songwriters,
that is cheaper
not
than
literally,
any club on the east side.
Don't ask for your money back. Yeah,
that's right.
Full exposure. That should be the name of this instead of Songwriters in the Round.
It's the same.
And
sort of.
Josh
Grassley. That's your interpretation.
Right.
Josh Grassley's going, well, I tried to help Hope, but
he's probably canceling the show.
Your mom.
I think he's canceling all of us now. Jacoby's the winner's gonna be boarded up when we go down there.
Doug's the only one they're letting in because he didn't come here. They're like, Doug didn't show up to that radio show. Let's keep him.
Yeah.
What can Josh do though when Hope's mom bails you out? Thank you. Man, that was amazing.
Thank you, Mama Hope.
All right, well, let's take our last quick break, and then we'll come. We just might as well take it right up to the top now.
We're pretty close, and so let's just talk.
Also going on Saturday, there's other stuff going on. The benefit for the family of Captain Jake Ringering and the firefighter Luke Warner going on at Bottoms Up. $5 to get in that, and all the proceeds go to help the families. Look at this lineup. You got Lady Luck acoustic, Borderline acoustic, Blackwater Revival acoustic, Flatliner, and Doppelganger for the whole day. Looks like it starts around noon, so that gives you plenty of time to stop in there, donate, and head on down to the Songwriters in the Round later tonight, or stop at the Bottle and Barrel, because what's going on there, Pigpen?
Well, there's going to be a couple bands down there. Agents of the Free, those guys are real good. Krickett and the Grilled Avocados.
You went back to Friday.
Oh, did I? Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
Hayes
Bond and Earth Dad. I'm looking at the wrong piece of paper here. Hayes Bond and Earth Dad, which Hayes Bond, man, and Earth Dad, both bands I've got turned on to from Jimmy G Productions. Both good bands. That's going to be a nice night of original music going on down there.
And then following that, let's see, we got Nightlife at Doc Holliday's and Cottage Hills. We're going to have Rob Simmons on. He books the bands there at Doc Holliday's. He's looking for some bands, and I checked out his podcast. It's called the Corner Flub. He does that with
Corner Flub.
He does that with Nathan Shaw, and they cover bands and the scene as well. And so yeah, check that out if you get a chance. The Corner Flub. Awesome. Let's see, Wild Geese at Morrisons Irish Pub. You brought up Pat Liston. He's playing down at Chez, Maryland's Saturday night. Lanny and Julie and Alan, too, at the Old Bakery Brewery. Billy Hurst on stage.
Oh, there you go.
5 p.m. at the Pump House. If you're wanting a Cardinal scouting report, perfect time to go down and see Billy Hurst. He just got back from, taking
Spring
all the
training,
pictures.
Yeah.
So, and then he's opening up, and, they have 2 shows at the Pump House. I'm not exactly sure what this band's called. On one website, they were called U2 Hype. I also seen them as U2 Elevation. Well, apparently they're a YouTube tribute band that's playing down there at 9 o'clock.
All right.
Whiskey Drive at Eddie's Bar and Grill. Small Things at the back door, or at the back bar in Edwardsville. Stray Bullet, and I also seen Michael 20 listed at the Imperial Pub in Granite on Saturday.
All right.
Hooky down at Deutsch Village Inn. Bud Summers at Uncle Lenny's in Pontoon Beach, and he's going to have his CD release coming up down at Jacoby's.
We're going to get him on.
April
Talk
6th.
about that. We're going to have to get him on.
The Wild East got Hartsfield.
Hey, Hartsfield.
Yeah.
I got one of their albums.
You do?
I do got one of their albums at home, I think, man. That's crazy.
Not familiar with that.
I did not know those guys still play. That's awesome to hear they still play. I haven't seen them for years, man.
Well, that's what Al Canal does over there at the Wild East.
Yeah. Good one, Al Canal. That's a good one.
Lenny's Picking Music at the Cabin at Judy Creek. The Big Wheel at Grafton Winery.
I was a Mean Machine kid.
The Glendale Riders.
Green Machine, yeah.
Yeah? Cream Machine?
No, I don't know. Sorry.
Stomp on you there. Sorry about that.
I'm stomping on you. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. That's because we're running out of time. The Glendale Riders doing a fundraiser for the Verdon's Lions Club. Wanted to mention that. Throw the Horns at Washies in Waterloo. And then the benefit for stroke victim Dwayne Hunter is going to be at the Jerseyville American Legion, 300 Veterans Memorial Parkway, and music by Thurston Howell, one of your favorite names.
I do like that name.
And you can make donations for Dwayne if you can't make the show. And all this information's on our website, cottonmouth.org, everything that we're talking about, links. And there'll also be information on the YouTube video in the description for this. And I'll have the phone numbers there. But just in case, you
Josh
can call
Grassley again.
You can call either John Hunter or... is important, big.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
You can either call John Hunter at 535-1196 or Ann Hunter at 946-9950, and that's for a stroke victim, Dwayne Hunter, and needs some help.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on down the line. Skylark Brothers at the Lake House at Buffalo Park in Maryville. Sam and I think it's Trinae at George's Local Brew in Jerseyville.
Yeah.
Jesse Vincent at DeCamp Station in Staunton, Illinois. Matt, you're going to be...
DeCamp's fun little place.
I've been noticing that.
Some really, really nice folks on that place.
Yeah, you're playing up there, what, end of...
Yeah, we played up there in April sometime.
Yeah.
Me and Pete and Troy. And
I've just noticed that name
Johnny.
Starting to show up on my radar, so that's cool. I've checked that place out.
Yeah, it's worth supporting some good folks up there.
Nice.
Cool. Flip side, always busy. Corner Keg and Highland, and a great self-promoting band. That takes us up to Sunday. You want to do that?
All right, we got Come Closer, 2 p.m. at the Pump House in Wood River. Mind and Acoustic at the Loading Dock, which is 2 great things. You get to see Mind and Band and hang out on the river.
Yeah, the water's up, so we'll see how that one pans out.
Hey, floating stage, I say. Don't worry about it. Float that stage.
Right.
Every Sunday at 10 p.m., you can catch the Mind and Band at Mike's Tin Pen. And if you've never seen Mind and Band, just treat yourself. yourself and go do it because they're amazing.
Yeah.
Afternoon Delight's going to be at the Back Bar in Edwardsville on Sunday. Our buddy Kurt Copeland has his Sunday Fun Day up at Proof in Jerseyville at 3 p.m. every Sunday.
That's an open mic, 3 o'clock.
That is an open mic at 3 p.m. on Sunday. You can get up there, and Proof's a good place with good people up there. So we got Borderline at the Grafton Winery on Sunday. And number 4 Combo will be at the loading dock after the Mondin Band Acoustic. Scott and Mechelle at Deutz Village Inn. Riding Shotgun at Who Dats in Southern Food in Collinsville.
Yeah.
And, Boulder Dash. Where? I almost said Who Dats again. I almost said it Who Dats again. I'm like, that's wrong. Where am I? I'm lost on my page.
Bristow
I'm sorry.
Band
The Bristow Band at Rooster's Pub in Staunton, Illinois, and Kentucky Straight at the Lake House in Buffalo Park.
And more people sending us their gigs at Cottonmouth at cottonmouth.org. And now that we got everything like condenser right there, I mean, you can just go click on all these links and find that stuff. That's been real helpful. People digging that. So we appreciate you stopping by, and we appreciate our sponsors, Halpin Music Company. Plenty going on there. The crazy deal, right? You get a free set of strings with a guitar purchase right now. They also have Yamaha 88-key digital pianos for $4.99 right now.
Nice.
New Ibanez acoustics and their woodwind reeds are on sale. Our other sponsors, Mr. Matt Van Voorhis and his uncle, put bricks in the original Halpin music.
Look at that.
My stepdad.
Right. Related.
Matt and I are cousins.
Right.
Well, look at that.
So there you go. Hope's cousin is our sponsor.
Who played in a band with Matt Van Voorhis, who's related to Joe Greenwell. No, I don't know.
Right.
And now it's all been connected.
Matt Taul and Kevin Bacon.
And Kevin
He's probably in there somewhere. Right? No, actually, Joe Greenwell's where it probably ends up, right?
Yeah, probably stop at Greenwell.
If you're within 8 steps of Joe Greenwell, you're doing all right in this town. So you just made that. I don't know. We can connect everyone to Joe within 8 steps. That's what we figured out. He's the Kevin Bacon of the area.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
So, yeah, Songwriters in the
Lazy
Round
Joe.
is what we've been talking about. Our guests, Matt Taul and Hope Mater. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having us. Looking forward to Saturday.
All right. Everybody get out there and support local music. You can do it by liking, commenting. I mean, you don't have to get out and see it, but that's the best stuff to do.
Get out and feel the vibrations of the music and listen to the what's been happening is the best thing. But if you can't get out,
right,
hit like. How hard is that? Help us
comment,
out.
Yeah.
Help every band out. Like them all. Like
Break
every
some
band
bubbles.
you come across.
Yep. All right. Next week, we'll be talking
Steve
to
Scorfina.
The full story.
Yeah.
From Michael McDonald, jamming with him at 11 years old.
At junior high, started a band with Michael McDonald.
Almost jamming with Elvis.
That close.
Yeah. Terry Luttrell and the original REO Speedwagon and all the way through all that. It's going to be amazing.
All the way up to Chrome and Steel, who on March 29th is shooting a promotional video in St. Peter's that you can just show up and be part of their video. Yeah. It's at the at the Church St. Bar in St. Peter's. Don't know what the Church St. Bar is, but
as much as people like that 15-minute video we did with Steve, they're really going to like this long one.
Yeah. Go a little deeper.
All right. We'll talk to you next week.